We do have so much to be thankful for. We forget sometimes. And I know most of us have a saying or a reading or something that we go to that clicks us back so we remember. Don't some of you have those little things you look at, little readings you keep on your desk, little notes to yourself? One I have that I pull out quite often comes from a beautiful 13th century theologian, philosopher, mystic, Meister Eckhart. And he says, if thank you is the only prayer, if thank you is the only prayer you ever say, it is enough. Wow. How can that be? Thank you, the only prayer. Well, let's look at what prayer means first. Prayer to me is communing with God, connecting with God, paying attention to this power greater than we are that we can use. Paying attention to God, communing with God. And thank you would mean to me that we're aware that God is all there is, that there's nothing else. That's the energy of everything in the universe. And we're a part of that. We're made in that image and likeness. So saying thank you means the recognition that God is all there is and I am part of that. Wow. Accepting it and appreciating it. Thank you. Thank you. Our gift of life is God's Spirit's gift to us. This life is a beautiful opportunity to learn more about ourselves and our place in the universe. It's how to learn and grow and become. Let our soul evolve into its greatest yet to be. So even though there's hardship and difficulty here on this physical plane, there's beauty and joy and wonder and possibilities in everything. So I'm going to give you a little demonstration. Let's just say, just pretend, okay, that I am all of God right now. I'm the whole universe right here. And all of a sudden, God is a creative energy, creative potential. So couldn't stand it any longer. Had to go poof and create all of us. Poof. So we are the fingerprints of God. If each of our fingerprints, of course, has a individualized expression. It's unique. Now, if the fingerprints that we are looking outward at this material world, they may feel separate and alone, right? But if they look inward, they'll see they're part of a greater expression. They'll see that, wow, there's something more going on. So this little finger, if it's not relying on this power that we have here, can get very weak and tired. But when it realizes it has a great strength to draw on, if we can just realize that we are the fingerprints of God and we get to decide how we use our unique and individualized expression of that good. Just say thank you. Isn't that a good thing to know? I mean, isn't that fun to know how neat and original we are and we have something more to draw on than just ourselves? That we're all here together. And when this little finger gets burned on the stove, the whole body hurts. And when this little finger is in prayer, the whole body benefits. We're part of that greater whole. So we've established we're this expression of God. We're expression and extension. We're the way God demonstrates and knows itself. So that's beautiful. But here we live in a world with lots of challenges, lots of difficult things going on. How many of you might have a little problem or difficulty in your life right now? Just a little one? Big one? Yeah, we all have things going on because we're learning and growing. And how do we get to be thankful for things that are difficult? Because gratitude, why is gratitude so important? Because it changes things. It changes everything. Gratitude changes everything. And when we recognize and know that within every single thing that happens to us, every experience, there's a seed of a blessing, life changes. If we can expand our thinking right now, because I know we can get very, very, very confused and sucked down into the problems of the world. But if we can reset our thinking and realize, wow, everything is here for me. Life is always for me. The universe is always conspiring for my good. Wow. Then start asking some new questions instead of, oh, why me? We can ask, what am I to learn from this? How am I to grow? And what's the blessing that's being given? And you might not know all at once, but you've created an openness in your mind and heart for the answer to be revealed, because just like that breath and air, life is always giving to us. There's never a time life is not giving to us. Miracles, blessings, goodness abound. We have to be open, create that opening to receive, opening to get the gift, the understanding, the awareness. So those questions are beautiful for self-awareness. And then, of course, the greatest question we can ask is, how can I help and serve others? And when we've handled those first questions, we can be part of a greater good. And I'm going to explain something in a minute, but on Friday night we had a large group of individuals here, many of them who had lost children in drug overdose. And James Von Prague was here, our beautiful medium, and he's always in his loving and beautiful and fun self. But he was here speaking to these beautiful people that were here. And I know I was listening, so many souls sharing what it's like for them now, but how many parents have gone on to do amazing things? And the two people that had put this together were now president and one of the speakers for the California Youth Services. And they'd lost their 20-year-old son to a heroin overdose. But what they do now is they go into schools and hospitals. And they talk to children. They teach teens and young adults, youth, about the experience and how they can change their life. So the ultimate part of gratitude is, how can we make this world a better place? You see, our life, every moment is a blank canvas. Just we'll carry our learning with us, because that's important, but we don't have to carry all the stuff and drama with us. Every moment is a blank slate, undifferentiated potential, and we mold it and create it with our thoughts, our minds, our deeds, and our actions. So we're creating every single moment. We are creating, and we get to decide where we place our thoughts, where we put our actions, our heart, our mind. And the whole idea is for us to put God, love, joy first, and then we can put gratitude first. Jesus always gave thanks first. Jesus, the way shower, the miracle maker, the mystic, he always, before he did anything, gave thanks first. What does that mean? It must mean you have unbelievable faith. He said thanks first, and then he commanded the law to do its work. He had no question that it would work. He had total faith and trust in the power of this universe that we're talking about, which we're part of. He had total faith and trust in that. Do we have that much faith? Many of us live in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction. Wham, wham, wham. There's not enough. Wham, wham, wham. I'm not good enough. Wham, wham, wham. I'm not getting what I want. Now, there's a big difference between perpetual dissatisfaction. That comes from materialism, and you really have your fingers, hanging on to this physical world, and divine discontent. I want you to think of the two. Perpetual dissatisfaction and divine discontent. Divine disconnect is that creative urge within us that wants to grow and evolve and be better and more. It's the discontent that comes when we're in a life that doesn't fit anymore. Do you know what I mean? It can be a job that doesn't fit, a relationship that doesn't fit. It can be always a consciousness that doesn't fit our soul's growth anymore. And we need to change it for the better. We need to change and let go of those old ideas that keep us stuck and limited and tied to this physical world. Well, how do you know if it's perpetual dissatisfaction or divine discontent? Well, ask yourself, am I craving more? Do I always think there's not quite enough? Do you know when the billionaire Howard Hughes was asked, well, just how much money would you need to be happy? Oh, he said, just a little more than I have. How much is a little more? How much is a little more? So when you're craving more from this physical world, when you always think there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough love, there's not enough appreciation, there's not enough blah, 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 that is perpetual dissatisfaction. when you're feeling the urge to grow and become, and the little bit of the butterflies from trying something new, knowing there's something more that wants to be expressed, that's the divine discontent that we need to step into. So there's a difference there. However, if you and I choose, before all of this understanding and dividing this and this up, if we decide that we want to live in a state of gratitude, if that's going to be just our gift to ourselves this holiday season, it's more than just the lip service of thank you, thank you, thank you. It's much more than that. It's really embodying the essence and energy and vibration of gratitude in your being for something more than you even understand. When you are totally the embodiment of gratitude, this is what can happen. A congregant sent me this email. He's never sent me an email before, but he said it reminded him so much of what we talk about here at InSpirit. And he just wanted to share it with me. And it's an article from Huffington Post. And it came after the Paris attacks. And it's from the husband whose wife was a victim of the attack. And the title of this article is, "You Will Not Have My Hatred." He goes on to say, "Friday night you took an exceptional life, the love of my life, the mother of my son. But you will not have my hatred. I don't know who you are and I don't want to know. I will not grant you the gift of my hatred. You're asking for it. But responding to hatred with anger is falling victim to the same ignorance that has made you what you are. You want me to be scared? You want me to view my countrymen with distrust? To sacrifice my liberty for my security? You lose." I saw her this morning, finally. After nights and days of waiting, she was just as beautiful as when she left on Friday night, and just as beautiful as when I fell hopelessly in love with her 12 years ago. Of course, I am devastated by this pain. I give you this little victory, but the pain will be short-lived. I know that she will be with us every day, and that we will find ourselves again in the paradise of free love to which you have no access. We are just two, my son and me, but we are stronger than all the armies in the world. I don't have any more time to devote to you. I have to join Melville, who is waking up from his nap. He is barely 17 months old. He will eat his meals as usual, and then we're going out to play as usual. And for his whole life, this little boy will threaten you by being happy and free. Because no, you will not have his hatred either. You see, when you have that attitude of gratitude that can find the blessing in anything, it's not just a gift you give yourself. It's a gift you give the world. It changes things. James van Praagh, when he was here, was talking about how at the end of our days, after we pass from this existence, we go to the other side to have a life review. And he was explaining how this life review might be a little bit different than what we think it is. We've all, I think, heard of the life review. It's kind of like a confession time. But he said it's much more than that. When you get to the other side, you get to see how your actions, your words, your deeds have affected the person you're with. But more than that, you see the ripple effect of your anger, your hatred, your love, your joy, your kindness, your goodness. You get to see how who you are, the fingerprint you are, makes a difference to the whole. My question that I like to ask that keeps me on track when I forget is this world a better place because I'm in it? Is this world better because I'm here? Is my relationship better? Is my family better? Are my friends better? Is my community better? Is this a better place because I'm in it? Well, I want to tell you, it's not too late. We have this moment to choose to let gratitude be who we are, but it's not just for some things. Let me read to you what Ralph Waldo Emerson says. He said, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and give thanks continually. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. You see, we can't shut doors on part of our life and say, oh, I love all this, but I hate that. You can't do that and be a whole being of gratitude. You can't be the embodiment of that attitude of gratitude that could write something like that article. Now, that doesn't mean that this dad's not going to have some problems in his life. It doesn't mean that things are going to be easy, but it means he knows how to make them better. He has that ability to see that seed of goodness. So for our prayer wall this morning, it's going to be a gratitude prayer. And the prayer wall is going to be about being grateful for all of our life, not just segments of it, but all our life. Now, as our ministers and practitioners come forward, I want you to honor these beings as beings who have spent their time, their talent, their treasure, and countless hours of study to be here, to be able to stand in the energy and the place and the consciousness they do. Not meaning their lives are perfect, but to know the vehicle to be the healing energy of prayer, to have the mind and heart to know the truth about you and me and this world. So let me give you the instructions for our healing prayer. We're going to model it after what Reverend Mark Anthony Lord did. The healing prayer today, I will give the gratitude prayer, but when you come forward, you'll take the hands of the minister practitioner in front of you. And I want you to just say, I am willing to be grateful for all my life. Not just the pieces that are comfortable and feel good, but all my life. Because when we step into that consciousness to be grateful for all our life, all the icky, ugly, awful things, and the beautiful things, it's an opening for God's love and joy and grace to come through. Let gratitude be that opening to the goodness that's ever present. So I'm going to invite you right now to just unravel yourself, to close your eyes and open your hands, your heart, your mind, and be the receptive vehicle for this prayer of gratitude when I simply know the truth in this moment that God's love is all there is. God's love and light and healing energy and possibility and potential is the truth of this and every moment. There is not a moment that we live that we don't have the opportunity to see and do something new, to create a new understanding, a new possibility in our life. And I know for myself that any time to understand this bigness, this huge power for good that is here for all of us is a time to be grateful, a time to let that love, that light, that goodness just ignite within me, that I can be the embodiment of God's love, God's gratitude, God's goodness, and live in the grace and flow of infinite good. As I allow that gratitude to be the truth for me, I can see beyond the physical. I can see the possibility, the goodness that resides in all things. What looks like a deep, deep loss and hurts terribly is the opportunity to step into something new and more and beyond. And as I know this truth for myself, I know it for each and every person here. Recognizing and knowing that our prayer today, we do not need the story. We simply need to know I am willing to be grateful for all my life and to allow God's love to work in, through, and as us to experience that. So I'm going to invite you to just come and say that one statement to our prayer wall up here, just to come forth and let that come from your mouth. I am willing to be grateful for all my life. And let the prayer be given to you in a beautiful and wonderful way. I invite you to come forward now. As our prayer is coming to a close, and as our beautiful ministers and practitioners bring all of those beautiful prayers and the truth being spoken to each and every person here, I simply know we release these prayers to the infinite mind of God, The law that only knows to say yes and give us exactly what we put into it. And as we clear our hearts and minds and enter this state of gratitude, I know blessings are bestowed upon each and every one of us, and we enter into this holiday season not only with an attitude of gratitude, but absolutely feeling good. Are you ready? All right, well, let's go. I bless you all, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.